All right. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining our session. My name's Omar Khan. I'm Vice President of Azure Infrastructure Marketing here at Microsoft. And I'll be joined later in this session by Pankaj Srivastava, GM of Azure Infrastructure Partner Strategy. Today, we'll be sharing how we can help you accelerate customers' AI transformation by leveraging Microsoft Azure's cloud infrastructure that is purpose-built to run any workload. So let's go ahead and dive right in. My clicker's working here. Sorry, my clicker's not working. So throughout history, the right tool in the right hands has sparked transformation, all the way back from the inventing of the printing press to putting the world's information at your fingertips with the smartphone. These tools have fundamentally changed our lives. And now we're seeing the potential of that next great shift, a new era being shaped with AI. And we're seeing this impact take shape across every individual, every business process, and in every organization across every industry. And your opportunity to lead in this era is now. However, AI isn't a silver bullet. It's really a catalyst for that transformation, and it amplifies our human ingenuity. At Microsoft, we believe AI can be the catalyst for business as well to help organizations increase revenue and save costs across 4 distinct areas. First, AI can help employees be more productive and drive more well-being by automating those mundane tasks and giving access to personalized insights and data. It can reshape business processes through automation and supply chain optimizations. AI can also help reinvent the customer experience through enhanced self-service and personalized engagements. And finally, AI is a boost to innovation, providing product and engineering teams with deeper knowledge, market tool analysis, and self-learning tools. And data is what's fueling this transformation. And that AI can really only be as good as the data it uses. So to truly get the most from AI transformation, customers need to first migrate their data and their applications to the cloud so they can create an AI-ready foundation. A recent study that we did with Forrester revealed that 75% of IT professionals agree that migrating to the cloud is that first essential step in order to be able to transform with AI. And our customers see tangible benefits when they do this. By migrating and modernizing to the cloud, it helps organizations unify their operations so they can adapt to the changing needs of the business quickly, and most importantly, they can organize their data estate so that it can be used effectively with AI. And when you combine the need to migrate apps and data to the cloud to be able to take advantage of AI, with the fact that the majority of Windows and SQL Server and Linux and open source databases are still on premises, you can see why cloud migration and modernization is such a great opportunity to help customers transform while also growing your business. And according to IDC, our partners who do more than 25% of their revenue from AI have twice the overall revenue growth as compared to those partners that don't. Now, additionally, we also know that 75% of Windows and SQL that's on premises is running on VMware. And with on-premises virtualization costs rising and customers reevaluating their infrastructure strategy, it becomes even more attractive to migrate and modernize to the cloud now. And while AI is creating these new opportunities, we also often hear that AI, scaling with AI, presents some challenges. Today's customers are experiencing those challenges in several different ways across their tech stack. For example, with things like difficulty in choosing and testing the right models, or a lack of data organizations to get the most from their AI projects, or poor user experiences in their apps due to latency or the wrong application architecture, and poor performance as a result of the wrong infrastructure decision, which can also lead to higher costs. So to help partners and customers address these challenges, we've built the Copilot and AI Stack. The Copilot and AI Stack is the platform for building your own AI applications and copilots. In fact, it's the framework and the platform that our copilots are built on. Across the middle here, you can see the building blocks for the solution. At the bottom, there's the infrastructure that provides the computing power. We have foundation models from the leading AI innovators across the globe, and your own business data and the orchestration and tooling with AI Foundry to wire it all up. And all of this is made possible by Microsoft Azure. And then on the side, you can see the developer tools to build your AI solutions, whether that's Copilot Studio, Visual Studio, or GitHub. And we're continually innovating at every single layer of this stack, from the infrastructure to the data to the tooling and the applications. Now let's look in more detail at the foundation of this stack, which is the infrastructure layer. To develop and use AI, companies need to understand how their business strategy, their product strategy, and their infrastructure are all connected. And being ready to transform with AI starts with having a powerful, secure, and adaptive infrastructure platform that you can build on. One that has the power to manage large AI workloads and operate securely, reliably, and at scale. Now, Azure is that platform. It's the most advanced, and it can deliver the ability to stay ahead with AI innovation because it's designed end-to-end with purpose-built infrastructure with that in mind. So let's see how Azure's infrastructure enables this strategy, starting first with having the power to scale to customers' AI ambitions. Now, Azure is uniquely positioned to help customers scale because we have the largest global footprint of any cloud provider, and Azure is also built for the world's most sophisticated AI workloads. From training the most complex models, such as ChatGPT, to designing our next-generation infrastructure with partners like NVIDIA, Azure is powering leading innovators around the world and advancing new breakthroughs. Novo Nordisk is just one of these leading innovators. They're a global healthcare company that specializes in diabetes care, obesity, and other serious chronic illnesses. Now, Novo Nordisk aims to create a pipeline of drug discovery, development, and data science capabilities with AI. Partnering with Microsoft, the collective team built the Novo Nordisk AI platform. They recently published some of the early results of this platform with predictive AI models that center around advanced detection of cardiovascular disease. Now, that's the leading cause of death globally. So you can imagine the impact that this accelerated innovation can have. Now, what's the result? It's a new algorithm that can predict patients' cardiovascular risk better than any of the clinical standards in practice today. So Novo Nordisk is a really great example of an innovator on the forefront of what is possible with AI that was never achievable before. Now, breakthrough innovations with AI like those pioneered by Novo Nordisk are only possible on a platform that's optimized at every layer from systems all the way up to silicon. And at Microsoft, we've been on this journey for some time. We innovate at every layer of that stack to deliver unmatched performance. Through this end-to-end approach, we can offer choice in creating the best balance of performance, efficiency, and cost for customers to run their workloads. And to keep innovating, customers really need to focus on having the right hardware for their tasks, and it all starts with data centers. Data centers are what is at the core of powering these AI solutions. Now, most of the energy used by AI also comes from these data centers. And data centers are using about 1% of the energy across the globe today. Now, AI is also causing a big rise in power use because AI tasks need a lot of compute power and energy, and more data centers are being built to address that. So when we think about preparing for rapid growth in AI, it's not just about the software, it's also about the hardware as well. And ensuring that we're growing this infrastructure responsibly with efficient power usage is central to our mission. Now, we're approaching this in 3 ways. First, we're driving efficiency in our own operations, from our energy management to renewable energy usage. Our new data centers are designed to support AI, and new data centers that are designed to support AI workloads without using water for cooling. Second, there are actually a lot of emissions that are embodied in the materials that go into the infrastructure that we build. And to solve for this, Microsoft is accelerating markets for low-carbon materials such as green steel, green concrete, and now cross-laminated timber. From the bottoms up, we're working with our suppliers and partnering throughout our supply chain to help decarbonize our data center equipment. And last, when it comes to improving the energy efficiency of AI and the cloud services, I think this is an area where all of us can help. It means making the right design choices and taking into consideration the impact of the services you build with. For instance, innovations like small language models or SLMs, such as Phi-2, can increase the efficiency of the software service itself, and help you run apps more sustainably. Now, one element of our systems approach is what we're doing in silicon. Azure Maia 100 is Microsoft's first custom AI accelerator. And despite its high performance, Maia 100 is designed from the ground up to manage power efficiently. We've designed the cooling unit, which is known as our Sidekick, to match the thermal profile of the chip, and added rack-level, closed-loop liquid cooling for higher efficiency. Now, Maia 100 has been introduced into our fleet and is actually running some of our Azure OpenAI workloads. And we continue to advance our cooling technology for GPUs beyond Maia by bringing the Sidekick design to now also power and cool NVIDIA's new Blackwell GB200 servers in our infrastructure. Now, Maia is just one example on our journey to bring the best of the industry together with the best of Microsoft's own innovation. Azure Cobalt, our ARM-based CPU, delivers up to 50% improvement in price performance and is being used by customers today, such as Databricks, Siemens, Snowflake, and more. And we continue to deepen our partnership with AMD and NVIDIA. With its large VRAM capacity, our AMD MI300X is powering some of Azure's OpenAI service, and is also attracting customers like Black Forest Labs, who are creating some of the world's most highly responsive AI models. And with NVIDIA, we're now the first cloud provider to launch the new Blackwell series with GB200 VMs that are in preview today. So let's take a closer look at our NVIDIA partnership and some of the co-innovation that we're doing together.
As generative AI continues to change the face of industry, Microsoft and NVIDIA are forging a new path of innovation and redefining what AI can do for everyone. Microsoft brings the new NVIDIA Blackwell platform to the cloud, combining the NVIDIA GB200 NVL rack design and NVIDIA Quantum InfiniBand networking to power purpose-built Azure instances that deliver groundbreaking performance for AI workloads. Microsoft infuses innovation at every layer, from our advanced liquid cooling Sidekick to technology that boosts and optimizes server processes to security at the hardware level, all enabling optimal performance for the Blackwell platform on Azure to accelerate state-of-the-art generative AI. From turning simple prompts into complex software to transforming intractable questions into historic breakthroughs, generative AI has taken its place at the forefront of human discovery. Together, Microsoft and NVIDIA are powering the AI innovation that empowers greater human invention.
So I'm really excited with the innovations that we're doing in our AI infrastructure. Another innovation that really speaks to this end-to-end systems approach is Azure Boost. It's part of a new system that offloads server virtualization processes onto purpose-built software and hardware. Now, Azure Boost SmartNIC, which we introduced last year, helps customers get super fast networking speeds and remote storage performance, making your applications run more efficiently and handle bigger tasks more easily. With Azure Boost, you can now achieve up to 650,000 IOPS in remote storage performance and up to 200 gigabits in networking bandwidth for your network-intensive workloads. And today, we're introducing the newest addition to Azure Boost, our first in-house DPU, or data processing unit. Designed for data-centric workloads, Azure Boost's DPU absorbs multiple components of a traditional storage server into one dedicated silicon. DPU-equipped servers can run cloud storage workloads at up to 4 times the performance of traditional servers, and with multiple functions now being integrated into a single chip, the DPU is also 3 times more power efficient than traditional CPUs for processing data-centric workloads such as data movement and data storage. Now, I've shared how Azure delivers powerful infrastructure, allowing you to scale with the latest AI models. However, I talked earlier, AI is really only as good as the data it uses, and that data resides in business applications. So it's equally important that we have a platform that is powerful enough to run customers' mission-critical apps. Now, Azure natively supports all of the enterprise apps and data so that you can modernize data to the cloud to get the most from your AI projects. We make it easy with purpose-built infrastructure that's designed for workloads like SAP, VMware, and Oracle, as well as open source software and Linux. So let's make it real by seeing how you can help customers modernize their apps to Azure quickly by using Azure Migrate, our first-party migration and modernization tool. Azure Migrate allows you to quickly discover and assess a customer's hybrid and multi-cloud environment and create the business case for cloud migration to Azure. Azure Migrate also offers options to compare lift and shift with modernizing to PaaS, and can also do the deployment itself. So here's a quick demo highlighting some of the new features for Azure Migrate that we've announced today.
We are now introducing application-aware experiences to help you decide, plan, and execute migrations or modernization of your multi-tiered applications as a holistic unit. Our brand new experience is intended to help you navigate your migration journey in a structured manner. You can start by inspecting your inventory and fixing discovery issues, building a business case to understand the value of migration, creating assessments to plan your migration, and then finally execute and track your migration. Inventory helps you identify the infra, web, and data tiers of your applications covering Windows, Linux, and SQL servers, as well as installed software. To envision savings and ROI for migrating to Azure, you can create a business case covering all the applications in your IT estate. You can evaluate potential cost savings and model year-on-year cash flow to see how much value we stand to gain from this effort. The financial model covers considerations across Azure Savings Plan, instance reservations, and Azure Hybrid Benefit. Although we have taken industry-standard benchmarks for computing the business case, you can modify the assumptions to generate a more context-specific business case. With the new experience, you can apply tags to help you efficiently categorize inventory, which is crucial for operations like filtering, creating assessment reports, and more. Let's focus on Parts Unlimited, an app that we're interested in analyzing and migrating. Through the new experience, we can identify workloads that power the application. We can see that it's a 2-tier app with the web tier based on .NET and data tier based on SQL Server. We can now group the workloads together using the new tagging feature. You can find the boundaries of a multi-tiered application using Azure Migrate's dependency view, so that no workload powering the application is left behind during migration. In the new experience, Azure Migrate automatically enables dependencies on your servers. Furthermore, you can view additional details. analyze the strength of connection to help you understand if the dependency is ephemeral or recurrent, identify dependent processes, and view relevant workload information.
Great, so you saw how easy we make it with Azure Migrate to let you help customers build a business case for Azure. Now, it's not just about having a powerful platform for AI innovation. It's also paramount to ensure that the infrastructure platform that customers choose to build with has a strong and comprehensive approach to security at its core. Now, when we talk to customers, we hear that security is also a top priority for them as they face increasing risk from constantly evolving threats, whether it be from cyber criminals or even more sophisticated nation-state actors. And when you combine that with the challenge of an ever-evolving IT landscape, it's easy to see why security continues to be top of mind for all of you as well. 87% of today's businesses are hybrid and multi-cloud, and security and compliance teams have to safeguard identities, devices, data, and applications across all of those disparate environments. And more infrastructure is now being implemented as code, and more than 95% of cloud breaches can actually be traced back to misconfigurations that happen during the DevOps process. So Azure's approach to solving these challenges is a comprehensive code to multi-cloud security platform that's built right in. This starts with what we call our foundational security. It's the security provided by our team and our physical data centers. And Microsoft plans to invest over $20 billion over the next 5 years. And we have over 10,000 security professionals who analyze over 78 trillion signals every day across the globe. So beyond this foundational security, however, Azure also has built-in solutions that protect all of your workloads from the code all the way up to the cloud. Azure is the only leading public cloud provider that offers a cloud-native application protection platform that's built right in with Microsoft Defender. Azure is also the first public cloud to help collect security data across your entire estate with Microsoft Sentinel that gives you correlated insights powered by AI to help you respond to threats faster. And Microsoft continues to be a leader in the confidential computing area, helping organizations in highly regulated industries protect their most sensitive data in the cloud, even when that data is in the CPU's memory. Now, we collaborate with members of the Confidential Computing Consortium that includes NVIDIA, AMD, and Intel. So let's dive a little bit deeper into each one of these solutions. With Microsoft Defender for Cloud, built into Azure, we protect any compute resource, whether it's on-premises, in hybrid, or in multi-cloud environments, even in those that are in GCP or AWS. Defender for Cloud also provides protection all the way down to your databases, your storage, and your service layers like networking and resource management. And you can use Defender to proactively discover risks and drift with continuous posture assessments. So you can fix security vulnerabilities before they become exploited. And all of this workload protection is built natively right into Azure. All you really have to do is help customers turn it on. Azure's also focused on protecting our customers' most sensitive workloads. Cloud providers have long protected data that's stored on disks or data that's sent over the network. However, for highly regulated industries, this sometimes isn't enough. Microsoft helped create a new standard to protect data while it's being processed in memory, covering all 3 stages of data usage: data at rest, data in transit, and also data in use. This led to the creation of the Confidential Computing Consortium, which focuses on protecting data in memory using secured hardware environments called Trusted Execution Environments, or TEEs. Now, these TEEs ensure that memory protection is built into the processor, and the processor can prove to the user that the hardware is secure before any code or sensitive data is processed, meaning even the cloud provider doesn't have access when it's being used in the CPU's memory. We know that protecting your most sensitive data while running AI is also a priority. So just 2 months ago, we announced the general availability of our confidential virtual machines equipped with NVIDIA's H100 NVL Tensor Core GPUs, creating a secure and scalable way to bring confidentiality to AI workloads as well. Now, finally, let's talk about the importance of also having an adaptive approach for your innovation strategy. Although I shared earlier that cloud migration is an essential step to be successful with AI, we also know that cloud migration is not a one-size-fits-all approach, and every organization is unique with its own skilling investments, requirements, and existing data center investments as well. So Azure is purpose-built to support all workloads, and that includes those workloads that span on-premises, edge, and multi-cloud environments as well. We know enterprises value modularity and integration, as well as the simplicity that Azure brings, and they want the flexibility to be able to extend that to wherever they need. So we're addressing this using an approach that we call the adaptive cloud. The adaptive cloud enables you to have consistent operations, applications, and data models across the infrastructure of your choice. You can bring Azure anywhere while gaining control over your disparate IT estates through a single management pane of glass. And underpinning this approach is Azure Arc, which supports running Azure services and workloads wherever they're needed, regardless of the location. This enables organizations to unify siloed teams, distributed sites, as well as a variety of different sprawling systems. Now, we continue to expand what is possible through this adaptive cloud approach, and I'm excited to share today we're making it easier for customers to use Azure to manage Windows servers anywhere. Generally available today, Windows Server Management, enabled by Arc, gives customers access to over 20 Azure services as a benefit. Customers can access services like Azure Update Manager, Azure Policy, Azure Site Recovery, and more through Azure Arc at no additional cost if they have a Windows Server software assurance or active subscription license. And we're also further simplifying Azure Arc server onboarding with our new Azure Arc Gateway, which is now in public preview. Arc Gateway reduces the number of required endpoints for using Azure Arc, making it much easier for customers to set up their networks and leverage Azure's capabilities. Now, finally, I'm also excited to introduce Azure Local, our new cloud-controlled infrastructure that is enabled by Azure Arc and can run Azure services wherever you need. Azure Local enables data processing at the source, allows for business continuity through network interruptions, and is ideal for ultra-low latency scenarios such as those in retail and manufacturing sites. Instead of me talking about all of this innovation, let's see a demo of these adaptive cloud capabilities.
Customers who have Windows Server software assurance or are enrolled in Windows Server Pay-as-you-go can benefit from the new Windows Server Management enabled by Azure Arc. Simply select a VM and click on Activate Benefits to enable the following features at no extra cost: Azure Update Manager, Change Tracking and Inventory, Machine Configuration, and more. Let's look at a few. Change tracking is an essential tool for troubleshooting and diagnosing issues. It allows you to identify system changes, aiding in pinpointing problems more effectively. Currently, it's set to review the past 7 days, but I can adjust it to review the changes from the last 24 hours, 30 minutes, or a custom time frame. Next, machine configuration links a machine to an Azure policy to audit or configure OS settings as code. I'm checking this non-compliant setup and notice TLS is disabled on this server. With Azure Policy, I can fix this by deploying a TLS policy to all servers in Azure or Arc enabled. The next feature is Azure Update Manager, which displays update statuses across Azure, hybrid, and multi-cloud. Update Manager also enables the delivery of hot patches to Windows Server in Azure and Arc-enabled Windows Server 2025. Now, hot patch is a feature that enables you to apply security updates without requiring a reboot. This is achieved by patching in-memory code of running processes, thus removing the need to restart the process or server. Moreover, hot patches focus solely on security payloads, leading to faster patches that consume less CPU. Rather than having 12 required reboots annually, you will now only have scheduled quarterly reboots. And just like that, the server's been patched. Begin your evaluation today and discover the advantages of hot patching with Windows Server 2025.
Great, so we've taken a tour of why it's important to consider what is important when you consider choosing the right infrastructure platform for your AI innovation. Next, I'd like to invite Pankaj, who's going to share more about the partner opportunity that this creates. Thank you, and welcome, Pankaj.
Thank you, Amar. Thank you. Thanks, Amar, for laying out the customer vision of Azure infrastructure being that powerful, secure, and adaptive infrastructure that powers all the AI innovation and transformation for our customers. Hey, how exciting was it to listen to Satya this morning and talk about us being a platform-first, partner-first company in service of our mission to help every customer realize their potential, right? And that is what keeps me and gets me excited to work. And my first feeling is that of gratitude for all of you who help us realize that mission. And that mission is so critical as you think about that partner opportunity, right? All the announcements that we heard in the morning kind of enable us together with our partners to actually open that partner opportunity up and help our customers realize that. So we don't have any changes to our FY25 priorities as we shared earlier, but I want to kind of reiterate them just so that we anchor in the dialogue that will take us forward here. Our first priority clearly, and we see that across our broad swath of all of you who are going to market, is to actually open the doors with that AI innovation and actually then pull in migration. You saw that magic number of 75% from the research that we just released. That's up 20 points from 55% of the customers where you are making that a reality. And that stays as the essence of the go-to-market motion that we intend to drive and we drive with you every day. The second part of that is actually looking at every migration being a secure migration. I think Omar talked about security. Omar talked about the entire spectrum of the security products that you have. We are getting more to it and making sure that every migration for that customer is a secure migration is on us. And the last piece there is capturing this market moment. And I would say just two things importantly there. One, the opportunity around SAP and SAP across our customer swath is not lost on any one of us. This is the last quarter for SAP in their fiscal year. You know the intensity with which we execute. So that is a big one. And then the second one is around the Broadcom VMware piece. We've heard from a lot of you with Azure VMware solution across the spectrum from enterprise as well as our small mid-market customers. That's an opportunity that is there for you to take to drive the growth and profitability of your businesses. So those are the three priorities that basically define the go-to-market motion for us this year. But what I wanted to do over the next 10 odd minutes is quickly invite Tony Guidi from Winwire. He is their senior VP, to actually have a conversation on how they're going to market. And Winwire, welcome to Tony. We'll pull these chairs up a little bit. Winwire is the Partner of the Year for modernization and also the Partner of the Year finalist for migration. This is not their first gig in that Partner of the Year space. They have been continuously over the past 3 or 4 years that I've been tracking them very closely, been the Partner of the Year finalist across these categories, which I call M&M. But anyway, thank you. And I just wanted to kind of have a quick conversation, have a seat, and actually share the story. Windwire has been driving growth probably 2x that of average partner growth that we see in this category. You're probably adding hundreds of engineers. I know there's a slide in there, but 900 people and growing.
Yep.
And thank you for doing that. But more importantly, I just wanted to kind of ask you the first question is like, what is that secret to the success? Like, what's that win formula that is helping you drive that growth? And more importantly, drive that consistently over these years?
Yeah, so when we started our organization, we were focused very much in infrastructure migrations, data modernization, app modernization, security, typical things that most partners are focused on. But 2 years ago, with the relationship between Microsoft and OpenAI, we invested heavily in working with customers to help develop some use cases around AI. And so in doing that, we had the opportunity to get early on in front of a lot of customers. We did a roadshow with the Microsoft healthcare team, multiple cities around the US, and we're able to talk to about 600 customers 2 years ago. And what that has done is it allowed us to really get an understanding of what use cases can be and how powerful that can be to an organization. And in the early days, obviously, all those conversations were educational. We were finding we were having a lot of conversations that really didn't go anywhere, but customers were beginning to understand what Azure OpenAI and Gen AI would mean to them in the Microsoft platform. What has evolved, though, has been very interesting. So we found that having those conversations early on uncovered opportunities for migrations. So as you heard this morning that AI requires data and requires infrastructure as well. And so as we had these conversations with customers and we're able to boil it down to a use case, the very next step in those conversations is, okay, do you have a secure and adaptable infrastructure? Okay, let's take a look at that. Is it AI ready? What about your data estate? Do we need to modernize? Do we need to migrate? Look at the applications themselves, that we're going to AI infuse and so to speak. And so what that has done is we've evolved our go-to-market approach. And so when Microsoft released at the beginning of this year for partners the AI Design Anatomy, AI Design Win Anatomy, we had already found that works. We had been doing it all of last year. And so it gave us a head start in this space. And so in working with customers, instead of going out and having kind of targeted conversations about an infrastructure migration or an app modernization discussion or a data modernization discussion, we're trying to pin them down to a use case. So we go out and start up here at the use case that solves for a business problem, and we're working with business decision makers versus the IT team at this point. And what that does is if we can get them sold on that and we can get them to move towards an MVP, then that's really the catalyst to drive all the work that we've already been doing all these years under the covers. The work that drives consumption, the work that drives big project activity for us as a partner. And so that model has really been working for us the last 18 months or so.
So broadening the aperture from the ITDM to mostly the BDM, and then quickly taking that use case to MVP. Oh, that's interesting. And then how do you're only a couple of industries too, right? You took a conscious choice, I think?
Yeah, we did. We started originally very heavy in the healthcare space. When Microsoft built their software and digital platforms team, we're a San Francisco-based organization. We were already tightly aligned in that digital native, high-tech ISV community. So we aggressively went after that space as well. But that's our primary business, is we've really tried to focus in two industries. And even when you take a look at healthcare, healthcare has a bunch of sub-verticals underneath it. It could be payer provider, pharma, med tech. And each one of those sub-verticals has different needs around use cases. So if I can give you any guidance and advice, if you can pick an industry, become aligned, build some domain expertise, And then you can have intelligent conversations with those customers about use cases that are applicable to them. The conversations we have with ISVs around product development and moving their products from server-based solutions to cloud-based solutions that they can sell is a very different conversation than we have with a pharma organization about pharmacovigilance or discovery around pharmaceuticals. And so those conversations are very different, and developing that talk track and that expertise gives you a lot of credibility.
I love the depth of you going into pharma straight and something that's way above my here. But that's the depth and that's the value that you bring right to the table working with our sellers. So that's great. As you look at the future, look at the announcements made today, what's that one thing that you are doubling down on, quadrupling down on? Like, how do you tap that growth?
Sure. So back in July of this year, we kind of retooled our go-to-market approach around AI transformation. Again, something that we had already had great success with, but we packaged it, really aligned with that AI design win anatomy. And so, go out and talk to customers, the use case, AI platform, app platform, data platform discussions, how the infrastructure has to be AI ready, and how all of that ultimately supports the end game of an AI infused application or agents or chats that all support that use case. So in today, all the announcements made today, it became very clear that Copilot, AI Stack, agents are, everything that's been talked about today has been tied back to that nearly. And that's our approach. We've already made the decision that we're very focused on custom copilots, AI-infused applications, creating agents that either connect apps back to Copilot or applications that have custom copilots embedded or agents embedded is really our go-to-market focus, and it aligns perfectly with what's been talked about today. So we're very excited.
Yeah, I like the fact that Microsoft goes to market with this commercial solution areas. Each area is distinct. You clearly cross the boundaries across the Azure one. But I like the fact that you are already looking at the Copilot one, which kind of is in our modern work piece. But that's where we see the blurring of the boundaries that is happening across the partner set. I'm going to not have anything this. I know you mentioned security and your approach to security, and it was a common theme across both our customer promise and our priority. Like, how do you really bring it to life?
So we take a little different approach to security. We don't have a dedicated security practice that operates in a silo. We feel like security needs to be striped across every project, every work stream that we provide. So we have those security architects embedded into each one of those practices. So if we're doing an infrastructure project in support of a use case, security is layered in with that team. If it's an app modernization or data modernization project that we're doing, security is layered in with that team. And so we've approached it a little differently, and we're finding great success with that as well.
That is awesome. You're bringing to life each one of our priorities and the pillars that we talk about. Thank you so much, Tony.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Pankaj.
Thanks for the partnership, my friend.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. So, hey, quickly as we see, I see the red boxes in there. That's interesting. But anyway, quickly as we see, investing in your success, I think you saw Nicole talk about two things, right? Our hero investments are clearly Azure Innovate and Azure Migrate and Modernize, right? You saw Nicole say $150 million we're taking on the AI and AI side of the house, 50% more on Azure Migrate and Modernize. So we have really juiced up these two hero investments for you to take advantage of. But we are also announcing Azure Essentials, right? And there's a dedicated session, I'll flash that later on talking about it. But for all of you who are familiar with the well-architected framework, the cloud adoption framework, and a whole bucket load of things that go along with it, in order to serve that need of elevating that reliability, security, and the ongoing performance, these are tools that are available to you to use in your practice to make it happen, right, for our customers and customers to realize that vision. So quickly, before I close, if you really look at our offerings, we made a couple of changes at the start of the year. The first big one that I want to highlight is now for every deployment project that you use Azure Migrate and Modernize funding, our sellers actually have visibility into it, and hopefully we are tracking that, by the way, and we see 50% more reach out from our sellers to our partners based on these projects that we have been tracking. And so that's our intent. The intent is to drive a better co-sell with you and sellers working with you to actually drive more opportunities. October 1st, we also did a whole refresh, to my point around the SAP and the opportunity around SAP RISE. We did a refresh of our AMM offerings there. There's more money in RISE assessments, but also larger size that are available for RISE offers that are available for you to go ahead and take advantage of. So please lean in with these offers. Now, closing, I hope you found it valuable for Tony to kind of share how they have come in the journey, and I'm sure each one of you has their own unique journey to kind of go ahead and leverage here. But what we want us to is to participate in this AI innovation, really get new projects across all rooms of the house in Judson's lingo to actually securely migrate, leveraging that AI opportunity, right? And we have all the tools from actually our program, our demand generation campaign in a box, as well as Azure specializations get you to unlock the AMM and Azure Innovate offer. So please use them. Thank you so much. There are these additional sessions that you'll find useful. The SAP session in there is $249. We have the Azure VMware session, which is $248. If you're interested in the silicon hardware piece, that's there in too. So please take advantage. Thank you for the partnership. Thank you for being valued partners. You make more possible. Take care.